Hey,
Hello, hello, hello.
hi, Victor.
How are you?
Hi, is that Erica? Hey, good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Hey,
Hello, hello,
hi,
hello.
hi,
Still in Puerto
Victor.
Rico. How are you?
Hi, is that Erica? Hey, good. How are you? Oh, there's a
Pretty good.
delay.
Hello, hello,
Hi,
hello.
hi,
Still in Puerto
Victor.
Rico. How are you?
Hi, is that Erica? Hey, good. How are you? Oh, there's a
Pretty good.
delay.
Hello, hello,
Hi,
hello.
hi, Erica. I'm getting something really strange. I'm getting a playback delay. Are you getting that? Oh, there's a delay.
Getting that.
My
Hello,
voice
hello.
keeps coming over. I'm getting something really strange. I'm getting a playback delay. Are you getting that? Oh, there's a delay.
Getting that.
God, voice keeps over. I'm getting something really strange. I'm getting a playback delay. Are you getting that? Oh, there's a delay.
Getting that.
God, voice keeps over. I'm getting something really strange. I'm getting a playback delay. Are you getting that? Oh, there's a delay.
Getting that.
God, voice keeps over.
Hello,
I'm
everyone.
getting
Can you
some
hear me?
a playback delay. Are you getting that? Oh, there's a delay. God, voice over.
Hello,
I'm getting
everyone. Can
some
you hear me?
a playback delay. Are you getting that? Victor, I hear you. You hear me?
Yes, I do. Very
Okay,
clearly.
but they're hearing. I'm hearing like over and over whatever we say. Are you having that? Playback. Are you getting that?
I,
Victor, I hear me.
yes, I do. Very
Okay,
clearly.
but they're hearing. I'm hearing like over and over whatever we say. Are you having that? Playback. Are you getting
No,
that? Victor, I hear me.
yes, I do.
Hey,
Very
Erica.
clearly.
Okay, hey, I'm hearing everything I say like in a loop. Repeated, yes. Oh, okay, you're having that too? Okay. Okay, then I'm gonna be quiet. Okay, and Victor, I'm not sure if he's hearing anyone
Welcome,
or
welcome to the millage meeting.
Yes. All right, okay. I've got my cell phone next to me if you need to reach me. All right, okay. Okay, and Victor, I'm not sure if he's hearing anyone
Welcome,
or
welcome to the millage meeting.
All right, okay. I've got my cell phone next to me. All right. Okay.
They should. You mean the people in council that are?
Vicentino. No, we don't have a point. Vicentino. No, we don't have a point. Vicentino. Oh, man, I don't know. Vicentino. Oh, man, I don't know.
Hello, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing, testing.
Vicentino. Oh, man, I don't know.
Hello, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing, testing.
There's a current. Vicentino. Oh, man, I don't
Testing, testing.
Yeah, that'll be good. Good, and you?
Mayor, can you hear us
I hear you.
and Councilman?
I
Okay.
hear you.
Thank you.
We're good. Okay.
Tammy, is that your granddaughter?
Do you want-
Oh, okay.
Erica, you'll let me know.
You ready to go?
Is it 5? Yep, we're ready.
Ready?
Sure.
We are calling this meeting to order at 5:01. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Mitchell,
Here.
Vice Mayor Fahet,
Here.
Councilman Santeen,
Here.
Councilwoman Bravo. Here. Councilman Vasquez.
Here,
There is a quorum present.
Okay, let's all please rise for the invocation and pledge. Invocation by Councilwoman Jackie Bravo.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we come before you today in humility and faith. We thank you for all you have given us and the many blessings in our lives. We ask for your guidance and strength. Show us the way and fill us with courage and wisdom. Help us to remember your love and grace and to be faithful in our service to you. Give us the patience and understanding to face life's challenges with grace. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
And please join us in the pledge.
The United States of America and to the
and to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
stands
one nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
Bring the statement back, Brandon.
Okay, so we will open up public comment. Do we have anybody signed up, Eric?
Not online. Not in person, no.
Okay, so we have no public comments. We will continue with 4A.
I'm gonna read the resolution or?
A resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Miami Springs, Florida, declaring as required by section 200.065 Florida statutes, the city's proposed millage rate, rollback rate computed pursuant to section 200.065 subsection 1. Florida statutes and the date, time, and place at which the first and second public budget hearings will be held to consider the proposed millage rate and the tentative budget for fiscal year 2024-2025. Directing the city clerk and city manager to file this resolution with the Miami-Dade County Property Appraiser, authorizing the city manager to change budget hearing dates if needed, and providing for an effective date.
Mayor? I mean,
Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor, sorry. The memo provided to you today, we are recommending to set a cap of the millage rate at 7.41. Due to, we have it here. Well, we had a shortfall last year. We had to go out of reserves. The golf course didn't come in with 6 months of revenue. And then the senior center was also in over budget, as outlined in the memo. And we have a financial policy that we have to maintain 25% of reserves. And right now with those, we have dipped down to 18%, 18.4%. And establishing the millage at 7.441 allows us to put money back into reserves. This is the cap, and obviously between now and the hearings, we will continue to try to bring that down as best as possible while maintaining the services that residents love.
And so just to be clear, what we're doing here this evening is setting the cap. That means that when we go through the budget process, that's as high as the millage rate can be set,
That is as high as the millage rate can be set. It can come down.
and it can come down from there.
So at the hearings, well, we'll have the budget workshop come August 5th, I believe, will be the first one. And then you'll have the hearings in September. And it's at those meetings where it becomes adopted, your millage rate.
So setting the cap allows the council wiggle room as we work through the budget process.
Correct.
Any comments from my colleagues on the dais or anyone online, Mayor or Councilman Vasquez?
I'd just like to mention that, again, as you stated, Vice Mayor, this is just setting the cap. Setting at this cap, which is what our city manager and finance director are recommending for us to give us the time and the facility to look at the budget as we do the budget workshops, I think is a reasonable request. And I have no problem with it. But I do want to stress that all we're doing is saying we cannot exceed this level. We can certainly go lower as we look at as we start on the budget process.
Through the
Through
chair,
the chair.
We'll go with Councilman Vasquez.
yes, I appreciate the mayor's words, and I too am comfortable at this moment setting this limit at 7.41, giving us the flexibility as we move forward with the budget discussions to adjust it where it needs to be. I've looked over all the numbers that were sent to us, and I do have some concerns, and but I will leave those for the discussion next month.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bravo.
Okay. So here we have on our memos, right, that the budget would be balanced at a millage of 7.33,
Correct.
right? So in retrospect, that's ultimately where I think management wants to be, right?
Well, here's the thing. At 7.33, it's balanced, but we're not putting money back into reserves. Based on our policy, I have to pay back the difference within 2 years.
Right.
You understand? So yes, ideally, I would love to be there. Ideally, I would love to be at 691 as low as possible. But it won't give me the surplus to put back.
And what is it that we have to put back to date?
If the policy remains at 25%, we've been discussing possibly changing that to 20%, which is 25% was very conservative. At 20%, that's what the GFOA, that's more around the recommendation. At 25%, we would have to put back over $1 million.
At 25%.
Correct.
And
Because
at
right now
20
we're at 18.4,
What'd you say? How much back?
over $1 million.
Over $1 million. Okay.
In 2 years.
Good thing we didn't go to the rollback last year, right? That would have been crazy. These were exactly my concerns. My concern is I understand that we're setting a cap, and I understand here that your budget would be balanced at 7.33, even though you still have to make back for the 25% that we dipped in, right? Which if you're saying we have 18 right now, so we need to put back about 7, right?
Yeah,
7%
7%.
back
Yep,
in
yep.
there. I just don't see us working through a budget and coming under 7.3. And right now we are at 6.91. I'd like to make an offer to see if we can do a 6.99. I know it's a stretch. I know that we have to put back money, but the 6.99 with, if we can do, I don't know if it could be done or do a motion today.
Are you proposing that as a cap?
Yes.
A cap of 6.99?
Mhm.
I don't think that
I
provides
I
us.
haven't finished. I haven't finished. So the 6.99 with, let's make a motion to change that 25%, which I think it's too much. I think it's something that was created, honestly, to cover mishaps, right? Or to shuffle, errors, which I get it. You want to have a buffer. But I think that if we come down to the 20%, which is now the new requirement by law, correct? I
No, it's
think
not required by law.
It's not. the
It's
15 is-
recommended by the Government Finance
Okay.
Officers Association.
I think that coming down to 20% would work for us, and it's actually will help us keep working closer to the numbers, because that 5% gives you a lot of fluctuation, and we're always going to have this deficit, right? So if we don't change that, we're going to constantly have to look back and increase our millage cap. If you remove that requirement, you've just knocked off that 7% that we would have to pay back. So we could do, I'm sorry?
Actually, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I don't.
If going down to 20% at the 7.41 millage rate cap, it would take us 2 years to still pay it back.
Right, but a smaller amount.
Right, it would be
I don't know that number,
roughly 300 or so thousand
which
dollars
you can make up in 2 years.
in 2 years, but that's a 741, not 699.
Mm,
At 6.99,
Oh, I
it would
don't have
take you
those
even
numbers.
longer,
Yes,
right? Because you would have less revenue.
at 6 point, just to,
I mean, I think
our
Look-
property values went up. We shouldn't be hiking, and our expenses went up. I get that, but there has to be a point in time where we tighten ourselves, okay? It might be for another year. We have to give this a shot. We have to tighten ourselves to correct numbers. And that's why if you look at the history from 2021, okay? From 2021, we had a proposed cap at 7.6. And actually that was a great year because we dropped the rate significantly on that year. We went down to 7.2, I think it was 7.29. I can't recall. Then the following year, okay, we had, for 2022, we had a proposed millage cap of 6.99. Okay. And then for 2023, we also had a millage cap recommended at 6.99. And now we have a proposed millage cap of 7.4, obviously, because we hired a finance director. We added good assets, right, that the city needed. So I'm not contesting that. But that shows you right there that those needed assets that the city needed in dire need that we didn't have and we implemented shows you actually where our financial capabilities are to run a city, which are really not up to where we would like to be. But what do? You have to really start looking down deep into your numbers. And I know we're going into budget, and I think last year we did ask all of the departments to look and to take off expenses. I mean, I've just requested from a list from the manager to see what exactly it is that we slashed. But I think it's going to take, or maybe we could do a motion to extend the payback. I don't know, we could experiment with that. So that's why I'm proposing a 6.99, even though our expenses increased, but I don't think that we've decreased our expenses as much as we needed to. And I don't think we can because we did add some big roles.
Yeah, I'll give me one moment. I think I just want to caution us. I feel like we're getting into a conversation about the budget and we haven't even had the budget presented to us yet. So I would caution us to kind of draw conclusions. This is just setting the millage. You could set the millage even higher than 7.4 and you could still go back to the rollback rate. This is just what you're setting the cap at. I think that your points are well taken, and I think that they are to be considered and discussed. I just don't think we're ready to discuss this. You're well within your right to propose a motion to set the cap at 699,
Okay.
and we can consider that and vote on it. But I want to caution us against having a conversation in detail about spending and how we're the budget itself when it hasn't even been prepared for us nor presented to us because we haven't begun the process.
Vice Mayor,
So
Vice Mayor, if I may, I just wanted
can
to.
George Santin first, Mayor, if you don't
Shirley-
mind.
Yes, yes, of course.
Thank you. Go ahead, Councilman Santin.
Reference to the 699, I think those couple years, you can probably in hindsight argue that probably was a little too aggressive. So to just make that as a reference, honestly, it's not a good gauge for me. I think that like Councilman Fayette just mentioned, I mean, we're not there yet to argue the budget and what proposals all the departments come back. This gives us the cushion that we need to put ourselves back to that number that seemed to handcuff at the end of the day. It's not something that I like to do. The second thing I think you mentioned, and I'd like to hear from Heidi, what's the process in reference to us changing this from 25 to 20? Does that mean that if it happens, we have to put it out to vote and then public notice? What's the actual process of that? Would it take months that we might not even make it in time?
No, so the
Okay.
policy that we've discussed internally is this is a policy that the city has had for many years.
Okay.
All it requires is updating the policy. That's done by resolution, and that can be done as early as your next meeting.
Next meeting.
And I think depending on the discussion tonight, I think the manager plans to have that.
Yes, no, I do intend on bringing that
And
to the next meeting.
And I just, as for clarification, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding it right. We had some shortfalls because of things that were unexpected, one of them being the golf course. And that is why we're already into the reserves, below the 25% we're supposed to have. So we're already into the reserves, if I'm hearing correctly, based on the numbers, which we don't know the numbers yet, right? Up to 18% into the reserves. So what changing the reserve number from 25 to 20 is going to do is just how much we have to put back to be in compliance with
Yes.
our own policy.
How much I have to pay
Right.
back
We're
and how
already
much
into
time I have to
the
pay back.
reserves and how much time we have to get back to the level that by our own policy, we have set now at 25. But again, I feel like there's all kinds of conversation that has to happen around the budget. And then we can talk about like, oh, well, do we want to set that number somewhere more reasonable so that paying it back, like we're already going to have to pay back because we're already into the reserves. So, but I'm correct in that, right?
You are correct.
Okay. So, Mayor Mitchell, I'm sorry, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just briefly, I just wanted to say the whole purpose of the reserve is for us to have something to draw into for unexpected, we budget for what we expect our expenses and we build a reserve. Historically, it's my understanding the best practices recommendation was 15%. Our city had 25%. Now the best practices, my understanding is from JC has moved up to 18 to 20%. Our city has still had 25%. So that's a discussion for the budget. Again, I'm not prepared personally to discuss anything about the budget. I have to wait for JC and Chris and all of the department directors to bring that to, tell us the information they can provide to us so that we can have those discussions. I just want to reiterate that the whole reason for this meeting, as the vice mayor has been saying, is to say, look, we can't exceed this. We'll start the discussions. Historically, in the past, we've always been able to, we set it high because we need wiggle room. And realistically, without hearing from the department directors, from the finance director, from JC as to what we're expecting, I have no idea how much wiggle room we're going to need, or if hopefully we don't need any. I mean, that would be the best case. Historically, our city's council for many years I can remember, certainly all the years that I've been on council, but way before that, has been on a trajectory of lowering the millage rate every year. Ideally, that would be great if it could happen. Last year we kept it the same. The inflation that has hit everyone in their personal pocketbooks, the labor costs, the cost of the grocery, the gas, everything that has hit everyone has hit our city. And we're having to deal with that. We're no different as a city than, any household. This, I feel, is what our city manager and our finance director are recommending for us to set it at as we begin the discussions. And I think it's totally reasonable and responsible on our part to say, if this is what you want to set it at before we set the discussions, before you speak to us, we'll do that again. All it is we can't exceed it. We can certainly go lower than that. And I think everyone on this council, myself included, has full intention of trying to lower it as much as feasible, as much as possible, as we've always done.
Thank you, Mayor.
Through the chair. Heidi, what happens if these funds are not paid back within the 2 years? Because I wasn't here for that resolution to do the 25%. What happens? What is there some sort of penalty or something that the city gives the city for not, I don't know how this works.
No, I can answer that.
Okay.
As far as I'm the manager, I'm not going to violate any policy this council sets. And I will do everything I can. I will comply with that. Now, if the council officially changes something, then that's separate, that's different, and then we can adjust. But I'm not going to come out and recommend or do something that's in violation of a policy, because I don't want to go there. That could be my job, right? But as far as a penalty out there, I don't think there's a penalty where we penalize ourselves, right?
Right. So times are really tough, right? My taxes are $10,000. Okay. I understand that we need to balance the books, but in times of desperation, which I feel that we're kind of in that time for right now, I would like to reinvent the wheel and perhaps look into something where we come to make a motion to change the 25 to the 20 and then work from there. That's just me. Again, you just heard it. The city's not going to penalize the city, right? So sometimes in times of distress, you have to get creative to alleviate tension, right? So I would really like to entertain the idea or perhaps make a motion. I could make 2 motions right now, and then we can see how the council wants to decide. My first motion is to set the cap at 6.99. Our current millage is 6.91. Okay. You could go up and up, but that doesn't mean it's going to come down. Trust me. Okay. You're looking to balance the budget at 7.33, and we're looking for a cap of 7.4. The difference is very minimal. You're going to have the impact. You're going to be above 7 for sure if we go with a cap of 7.4, unless we entertain the idea of reducing the 25 to 20. That's always been a buffer for error. It hasn't really been a buffer for correction. That's my personal opinion. Okay. So my motion 1 is for a cap, to set a cap at 6.99. And my second motion, which I don't know what the verbiage would be to reduce from the 25% required reserve to 20%.
Can I?
I would, sure, I'll let you chime in, but I just want to say, I think that I was going to ask in a minute to entertain any motions on the millage cap.
Okay.
I strongly believe that we should not be changing our reserve percentage at this meeting. I feel like that's part of the budget. I don't feel like there's anything that we stand to gain by it, because we have a policy that's in place. We're already below it, and changing it at this point, it's only going to be back end in terms of how long it's going to take us to pay it back. I think that this meeting is about the millage cap, but you have a motion to set it at 6.99.
6.99, but
Okay.
I was under the interpretation that was something that we could have discussed in this meeting.
I'm just giving my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's something that we should be.
And I'm
but
just
you-
trying to create a new threshold, because a 25% threshold
Through
has
the
not been
chair.
really working.
Okay, so,
Councilwoman, just really quick, Councilwoman Bravo, I was already planning on bringing that revised policy at the next meeting as part of
Okay.
the budgetary process. So that's already in the works, and we're going to be doing that.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
I mean, a couple of weeks here and there, it doesn't have to matter, but I'd rather have it
Also-
as an agenda item, so that way it's
Okay.
clear.
okay, Mayor, I
And-
got you that you're wanting to chime in. I'll go to Councilman Vasquez first, and then the mayor.
Just to suggest, Vice Mayor, that we need a second on that first motion before we continue
We are
discussing it.
waiting on that.
There is a
Mayor's gonna
second?
bring it-
If there's a second, I didn't hear it.
Or there has not been thus far. But thank you.
And that's what I was
Councilman.
gonna ask. Could we get through this motion so that then we can continue the discussions? Because I think we're kind of losing, going in a lot of places, which they're all valuable, they're all reasonable, and they're all
Yes,
valid places
yes.
to go, but I think we need to
proper
go with
procedure.
this motion first.
Okay, so we have a motion to set the millage cap at 6.99. Do we have a second? Okay,
There's no second.
there is no second. Okay, do we have
The-
another motion?
The motion fails due to second.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution A with the recommended millage rate of 7.41.
Second,
We have a motion second. Any other discussion?
I would just like to say that several things will be discussed. You know, we'll have the opportunity when we get into the budget process, including, you know, our reserve level. Other things that I know I've discussed with JC is extending the time that, you know, our payback is necessary. And, you know, instead of 2 years, 3 years, if that's reasonable. You know, obviously the most responsible means that we can keep the topmost, I believe, and I believe I'm speaking for all of us, topmost on our mind is to keep our residents' taxes, we're all residents too, as low as possible, you know, but none of us want to chip away or degrade any of our services, and that's going to be a big challenge. It's always been a big challenge, and it's going to be an even bigger one now. So we'll certainly deal with that during the budget process. We have a long process ahead of us in August, and I expect that we'll be having big discussions on all of these.
And to the chair, one last comment. I want you to understand that from 7.4 to 6.91, which is our current millage, there's pretty much a 0.40 difference. And when we're talking about real small numbers like that, they actually count really big in the pocket. So I don't know if we're even going to go halfway down to that. I just wanted to make that clear. So you can go ahead, and I guess you have a second on the table, so you can call the vote.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Mayor. So we have a first and a second?
Yes.
Call the
And
vote.
just before you
Okay.
call the roll, just to announce that this would result in budget hearing dates on September 9th and September 23rd at 7 PM here in council chambers.
Are those at 7 or at 6?
They're currently listed at 7, but if you'd like to start them at 6,
Well-
they only need to start after 5 o'clock.
And Heidi,
you
I'm
can
sorry, I'm
start-
having a little trouble hearing. What dates did you announce?
Monday, September 9th and Monday, September 23rd as the first and second budget hearing dates at 7 PM. If the council would like to start the meetings earlier, that can be done so long as they are after 5 PM. So you can start at
Okay.
5 o'clock, 5, and that's
Well,
fine.
the budget workshops though, on those alternate Mondays are at 6, correct?
Yes.
And
Erica?
those are in August.
Okay, and those
Yes.
are in August too. Okay.
And this information is going to go out in the trim notice that your residents receive. So now would be the time, if you want to change the time from 7 to an earlier time, now would be the time to do that.
Good.
I'm okay with 7.
Okay.
Call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Fahet,
Yes.
Councilman Santeen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bravo,
No.
Councilman Vasquez,
yes,
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes.
The motion carries 4-1.
I want to just open it up, right? Because I wanted to make sure that we voted on that, but is there any other, I think that the mayor was spot on when she said that we are going to have time to talk about how long it's going to take us to pay back our reserves. We're going to look at the budget in depth. We're going to have more in-depth conversations, but I don't want to cut anybody off from wanting to.
She made a
add
motion
everything.
about the 20%. Do we have to do, it just, that we have to,
But we didn't have well, right, we didn't have a second on the 6.99, right? So do you want to,
on the 20%.
The motion that I made was to reduce the 25 to the 20%. And then city manager just told us that he'd like to bring it for an item the next council meeting.
Okay.
So unless you guys want to do that now, we can just take care of it now so Heidi can come with a resolution next meeting.
I prefer to wait until we get into the budget process, but I'm open to
You're not gonna,
suggestions.
when you get to the budget process, we're probably not gonna do it.
I'll
Chair,
second that motion.
I'm bringing it up at the meeting.
Well, I'll second that motion to approve it 20%, with 25 to 20%. Call a vote.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing the motion. Is there a motion?
There is a motion to, there is a motion to lower our reserve balance from a 25% to 20%.
Are we in discussion part of it? There's a first and a
Sure.
second, or is there just one?
We can,
Sorry.
we have a first and a second, but we can have discussion.
Okay, my discussion would only be, while I certainly want to consider that, because I certainly think that that's the current best practice and we have to consider, you know, why wouldn't we be there? I want more information before we make that decision. So I would like to wait till we start the budget process and we get more information, not just based on, you know, it seems like a good idea.
Through the
This
chair.
policy is not only just for general fund, but you have to keep in mind, it's also for sanitation. It's also for our stormwater fund. And we have to still, you know, provide that analysis as well.
Right. And I would also, again, I think that the mayor brought up a good point that the GFOA actually recommends 15%.
It's up to 18 to 20, my understanding now, but it had been 15 while we were at 25. So it's gone higher now.
I mean,
And
I feel
JC
like
can speak to that better than I can. That's my understanding.
Eric, just
That's
call,
correct. It's
Eric,
around
just call the vote.
20%.
32.
well, hold on,
Vice
we're
Mayor,
in the middle of a discussion.
Through the
I just,
chair.
I'll let you go now, Councilman Vasquez. I just want to chime in, piggybacking on what the mayor said. I feel like I'd like a little bit more information about this, so that we can make the most informed decision. I don't think that this is anything that has to be decided today, because at the end of the day, all it's going to decide is how long we have to pay back what we're eating into reserves.
And I
Go-
offer just a suggestion,
Sure.
and I don't know if the councilwoman and councilman would like to amend
Can't
their
hear
motion,
it.
but perhaps since it sounds like some of you would like more information, the manager was already going to do this next month. Perhaps the direction could be to direct the manager to bring back a resolution where the reserve rate is reduced, as you suggested, from 25% to 20. So you're just providing direction, you're still making the motion, and it's still coming back in the same way that the manager was presenting.
Okay.
That's good.
Fine.
Councilman Vasquez, I'm sorry, you wanted to chime in?
Yeah, I first of all, I do not disagree with Councilwoman's, Bravo's sentiments, right? I think that, I certainly would like to look at that possibility of reducing how much time we've got to be fiscally responsible to pay back the reserve. I just feel like, some of you have already mentioned, I don't have enough information tonight to have that kind of conversation because we're not in the budget yet. I have no idea yet what we're going to be able to do with this budget, let alone something that's a longer bit down the road, which is this percentage that we have to pay back into. So that's what I'm not uncomfortable not taking it up, but like everyone's sort of been suggesting, let's get to let's bring it to an item of discussion with the other having done our budget and see where we really are. I'm afraid that we're in a tight budget situation right now. That's the impression I get. And so I would, that would be my point on this. Thank you,
Vice
Vice Mayor.
Mayor,
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, if I may add,
Go
may I
ahead.
add something?
Sure,
that-
go ahead.
Look, at 25% is the most responsible setting, keeping it at 25%, our reserve is the most responsible thing we can do, fiscally responsible for our city. You know, what we're saying is that we want our city to have a good amount of reserve back there so that we don't encounter unexpected situations where we have to dip and our bank account gets low. That's just fiscally responsible, and that's why it was set at that, and it was set at a very high level because you know, that's how our city operates. Looking to lower it to 20% is certainly reasonable. It's certainly something that we have to discuss if that's the best practices and that's all that is required right now. You know, it makes sense for us to look into it, but I personally would like to know more information about the consequences, what is impacted, what isn't impacted, what that means in the future before we take a vote on something like that, to lower basically how much we decide that we need in reserve for our city for unexpected situations. And keep in mind, we're just entering the worst part of the hurricane season while we're in the budget process. God forbid, we may encounter another unexpected event.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I agree as well. I think that it's something that we need to explore. But I feel like I feel like just even setting the number from 25 to 20, right? Maybe 22, right? I mean, I think that we need to know more about what the consequences of this are. Obviously, the reason it was set at 25 to begin with is to be as responsible as possible. Obviously, in conversations that I've had with administration, what you don't want to happen is there's some kind of, you know, hurricane comes through and then you don't have the reserves and then you have to borrow money. And so I think it's something that we need to look at. I just don't feel like we should arbitrarily rush into it until we've prepared ourselves to have an informed conversation. So, yes.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, even though we were frugal and responsible for 25%, but maybe not, because of all these years trying to shoot for that 25%, limited us from doing any contingency plan or equipment on so many things that the city needed. So, you know, great, but at the end of the day, maybe it wasn't a good target thing to do.
I don't
Because I'm
disagree.
sure from every budget, that became the target. And because that became the target, you ended up cutting things that you probably shouldn't have never cut.
I don't disagree. I just want more time to think about it. But we have a first and a second, a motion and a second.
What's amended? You gotta say it again.
Are you gonna amend it?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and amend it just for sake of a little bit more transparency. I want people to feel comfortable and understand this process. I hope it does go through when it comes back to us, because I think the city will benefit from this. So I'll go ahead and amend it to direct the city manager to bring forward a resolution for next meeting, recommending the council to reduce from 25% to 20%. What do you call it? Reserve? Reserve cap.
Special, right? I second that motion. You heard me?
Yes.
Okay.
Roll call.
Demand some water.
Vice Mayor Cahill,
No.
Councilman Santeen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bravo,
Yes.
Councilman Vasquez,
Yes,
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes, I'll vote for that.
Okay, the motion carries 4-1.
Okay. Moving on to 4B.
The resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Miami Springs, Florida, approving the purchase of stormwater flood pumps from Atlantic Environmental Systems, Inc. for the Oakwood Drive and East Drive Stormwater and Roadway Improvements Project in an amount not to exceed $205,000, providing for a waiver of competitive bidding, providing for authorization, and providing for an effective date.
through the chair.
Yes, Councilman?
Motion to approve 4B.
Through the chair.
Do we have any discussion?
Yes. Not
Go ahead,
discussion, just a
Councilwoman.
clarification. This was already something that is currently going on. So this is just, I guess, a next part
Yes,
that we
this,
need to get to complete the project.
this is the direct purchase of a pump that this particular part here. We're doing that so that we can save money on taxes and stuff like that, but it's
Okay.
part of this project.
Okay, thank you.
I have a first from Councilman Vasquez. Would there be a second?
I'll second that.
Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Fahed,
Yes.
Councilman Santeen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bravo,
Yes.
Councilman Vasquez,
Yes,
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, next we have 4C.
A resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Miami Springs, Florida, amending resolution number 2024-4188, establishing an auditor selection committee to appoint a new committee member, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Vice Mayor, one of the original committee members that was appointed originally, they're no longer able to participate. So we're just asking to replace that individual with Fernando Arguelles.
Francisco.
I'm sorry, I keep confused. Francisco Arguelles.
What is this committee for again?
This is for the evaluation of the external auditor's
Okay,
RFP.
great.
And this is part of the new, legislation that we have to have a
Yes, I
committee.
remember now. I remember now. All right, motion to approve 4C.
second,
You have a second?
I got,
Second that motion.
I got Councilman Vasquez on the
Oh.
second, sorry.
Sorry.
Roll call will be Vice Mayor Fahed,
Yes.
Councilman Santeen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bravo,
Yes.
Councilman Vasquez,
yes,
Mayor Mitchell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Vice Mayor, before you adjourn, I did want to introduce our new Public Works Director. His name is Juan Peña. And there he is right there in the front. He wanted to say hello to you guys.
Sure.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council Person. My name is Juan Pena, not with the little thing on top.
Juan Peña, sorry.
I'm 43 years in the business of municipal services. I have wide range of experience in all the facets of municipal services. And I'm very glad to have joined the city of Miami Springs, and I hope to bring the Public Works Department to the level that you expect.
Welcome. Thank you. Juan.
To the chair.
Welcome.
You're gonna make
Welcome.
our city beautiful. Declare yourself.
Definitely.
Okay.
I
got it.
expect
I got
nothing but the best.
One of the reasons why I selected him is he has a very keen eye.
Oh, very good.
And he knows when something doesn't look right, he gets it fixed and he makes it look beautiful. So
I'm looking forward to that. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. All right. So at 5:43, this meeting is adjourned.
night, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Good
Thank you.
rest of July.
Good night. Bye.
how are you? Huh? We're in El Portal? In El Portal? For the sewer? Well, you gotta see how much I had to pay.